Hey guys, this is Seth with Motor One, and as you can probably guess from the title of this post, but also from the beautiful scenery, I am next to a road, so it might get a little loud. I'm in Napa, California, and I'm here with BMW. And the occasion of my visit is the launch of this 2017 BMW 5 Series. There goes a truck. Yeah, 2017 BMW 5 Series, and what you're looking at right now is actually the kind of the base model. This is the 530i, and the 530i in 2017 is replacing the 528i as the sort of entry level model for this mid-size luxury class. And I was driving it yesterday. We drove from Palo Alto through San Francisco and into Napa. We had a really nice drive and slightly less wet weather than you're seeing right now, and really enjoyed this car. So as you probably understand, I'm going to be working on a review for Motor1.com for the car, but I had a little bit of time this morning out in California, so I want to do a quick Facebook Live. So if you guys have questions about the car, as always, feel free to go ahead and ask. It's just me manning the camera and talking today, so if I don't respond right away, give me a minute, but I'll do the best that I can. So yeah, like I said, this is the 530i. And that means that it's got one of BMW's two-liter turbos. So that's the same displacement and engine type as was in the 528i, but this one has got a little bit more grunt. So the ratings for this car are up to what is it? It's 248 horsepower now, up from 240 in 528i, and 258 pound-feet of torque. So it's a really nice package, and combined with the automatic transmission, like really moves the car down the road nicely. This is the rear drive car. It's also available as an X drive, but this is, being in California, it's kind of appropriate, even in wet weather, to have the rear drive car. And yeah, I really enjoyed the drive yesterday. Hey, Sebastian, thanks for the comment. Make some action. I don't know. It's just me, so I can't really drive the car, unfortunately, and do a Facebook Live, but I will make some action in the form of opening up and showing you the interior. We'll definitely do a full walk around here. So the interior is really, please excuse my coffee. It was a fairly early morning for me, but the interior is a place that I think BMW has really made the biggest improvement for the car. You know, the exterior styling is really nice, and it's a subtle improvement, I think, over the outgoing car, but the interior is kind of like baby 7 Series now. So you can see that we've got these nice quilted seats. BMW is offering the sport seats as standard in the car, and these are quilted in this kind of nice brown leather. We've got the brown and black colorway going on here with this white car. We'll step inside out of the rain a little bit and show you. Really, the sweep here is very nice and very technical. I'm going to turn the windshield wipers off. And they've made great strides in terms of the overall level of technology that's available in this car. Anybody who's read any reviews or reporting on the current Generation 7 Series will know that that's a car that's just absolutely loaded to the gills with tech. And they've tried to replicate and, in a lot of cases, improve on that technology suite here with the 5 Series, which is great news for a bigger part of the market, right? They sell a lot more 5 Series every year than they do 7 Series. So the screen that you're looking at right now is also standard in terms of the size. It's a 10.25 inch touchscreen too. So while we still have the iDrive controller down here that actually functions very well, you can see that this is now like touch capacitive, and probably more importantly, see, I can pinch to zoom, very responsive, really nice graphical presentation. I'm on kind of a simplified version of the map right now, but when you actually look at the resolution of the screen and look at the graphics, I think BMW has really killed it in terms of doing the little things really, really well for this infotainment system. And I've got to say too, this is the newest generation of iDrive too. So this is iDrive 6. So it's got a crazy amount of functionality. So I've driven the car for one day, and I was driving more than I was a passenger. So just going through the menu system and all the functionality is something that I'm going to need a week loan. We're going to have to get this car in Detroit to really break that down for you. I'll show you, this is the new main menu here, and you can see that they've gone with a tile-based navigation system, like some other systems both in consumer tech, but also in automotive tech for sure. And it's swipeable. Sorry, it's changeable. So you can orient, BMW likes this because you can go into any one of these deeper menus from the tile, of course, but you can also sort of customize the display that you see all the time for what you want. So right now we've got some very, I think what might be a popular sort of set, right? You've got your radio controls, you've got the mini version of the navigation, and then they've got weather showing up in connected drive. And as you can see, even leaving Detroit, it's rather cold and rainy. So, yeah, I've got to pause a little bit on talking in depth about iDrive 6. I think it's something that we really need to touch on and test a little bit more. But my early impression is that that the functionality is unbelievable. The software is really, really well done, and the interface, especially with the addition of the touchscreen, is easier than ever. So while you can, obviously, I'm using the the control knob here, the actual iDrive knob, which is, as I said, good to use, and it has touch capacitive, or not capacitive, sorry, but it allows you to do writing with your finger basically on the top. I feel like a lot of people are going to get into this car and gravitate towards the screen as a touchscreen, unless they're coming out of another BMW and don't expect that necessarily to be a feature. So it's a really, really nice win for them, I think. The rest of the cabin, we've got, like a lot of cars that we test, a lot of BMWs that we test, this has got an M Sport package on it. So we've got the M Sport steering wheel. I open up the door, you can see that we've got an M Sport sill plate. It's upside down. It's not W Sport, I promise. And a lot of goodies in and around the car, outside and inside, to indicate that. I've actually got a build sheet for this car too, kind of a Monroney. So you can see, I'll just go down the options while the car starts at what is a very competitive, within the segment, $51,200. That's kind of the base for this car in the US, right? But we can sort of scan down the options list, and like BMW, of course, wants journalists to see as many of the options as possible. So the car is really loaded up, and as we start to add up, we throw in a not insignificant $4,200 for the optional Bowers & Wilkins sound system, which I can talk about, but it's phenomenal. You can see the bottom line is a healthy $74,160. Is that 50 or 60? Anyways, it's 74 grand. So it's a ton of money for the quote unquote entry level 5 Series. But my driving partner and I were kind of going through this as we were driving the car, and without getting into it, I think that you can have a very, very nice version of this 530i for well under $60,000, which is a credit to BMW. But certainly they don't lack for options pricing. So I can talk about the stereo a little bit. BMW had Bowers & Wilkins wraps out here. I think that they're really proud of this sound system, and rightly so. It's got, actually, I don't know the speaker count, but we played with the modes a little bit, and I can get into audio and show you that. But the presets on the radio, they have sort of preset tone. It's called Bowers & Wilkins tone profiles that you can change here, and it's kind of amazing because I've seen these before on other cars, and admittedly they're getting better and better, but the differences between these settings, between these tone profiles, is really amazing. So if you're somebody that's an audiophile, for sure, and you're interested in this car, it's something that you at least want to check out, because while it is very expensive, paying thousands of dollars for the up-level audio system in a luxury car is not an unusual thing. And certainly, I listen to a lot of music in the car, and I appreciate it when the sound is good, for sure, and I really appreciate it when the sound is kind of great. It's something that you use all the time. So you know, I don't know. It's still a big expense in a fairly expensive car, but I think it's justifiable. So anyways, that's a little bit about the infotainment, just showing you around. The rest of this is very typical BMW, but updated and I think nicely modern. Really cool integration of this wood trim in here. Beautiful leather, and it's all in all, I think that it cues pretty close to like what traditionalists of the BMW brand expect, but with still a lot of very modern styling and updates. You can't quite see it right now. It's on bronze, but there's some ambient lighting there. If you guys can see that that orange light, that's the bronze light. That's also configurable. There are, 10 or so different colorways that you can put together for the ambient lighting. And it was just getting dark as we pulled into the hotel last night, and it was really, really nice. So this car also has different drive modes, as you'd expect. We've got a Sport, a Comfort, and an Eco Pro. Again, I'll get into that in more granularity in the review, but suffice it to say that there's not as big of a step between Sport and Comfort even as I've experienced in some other cars, and I think that's okay for something like the 5 Series. But it's basically the net is that Comfort is just fine for anything. Comfort never felt wallowy or it basically held the car exactly where it needed to be on the road, and then offered a little bit more overall ride comfort as you'd expect most of the time. So it's very much appreciated. So let me get out. I'm going to show you the back seat real quick. And again, you guys, if you have any questions, hit me up. Sorry if somebody's out. I'm going to lock myself out. If I've missed any, I don't think I have. I apologize, but I'll go back too. So I've got my camera bag back here, and this is set up for me, obviously, so it's sort of far, but so I'm 6'5" tall, the nearly 2 meters. So the rear seat when I sit behind myself is definitely still cramped. No, it doesn't have a DCT. It has an automatic transmission. Hash, thanks for the question. It's and it's really good, honestly. That you can see, I can show you from back here, but the steering wheel does have paddle shifters. I used them on some of the twisty roads and had a good time with them, but the transmission is really quick to respond. And to be totally honest, even when it's left in full auto mode, there are not a lot of times where it felt laggy or where the transmission was really getting in the way of me having a good time. And certainly, most 5 Series drivers, even though the car is very athletic and kind of a sporty version of this class of car, they're going to be driving it mostly traditionally, and are going to, I would say, prioritize comfort over sport. So I think it's a smart decision on the part of BMW. Anyways, just showing you quick the backseat area. And I was starting to say that, if I'm sitting behind myself right now, if you had, I think even 2 people who were 6 feet tall would be comfortable sitting behind each other, but you throw another 5 inches there and it does get tight for me. So normal size people, don't worry. the back seat of this car is just fine. I think you could put 4 people in here with a great deal of comfort. But yeah, it's tall guys sitting behind tall guys. You really need a full-size sedan to get that right. Here is you can see, because it just got a little dark, you can see the ambient lighting in the back a little bit better than I was able to show you in the front. It's kind of cool. What else? I appreciate you guys sticking around and coming out. I want to show the exterior of the car again, but now it's raining a pretty good amount. This fickle summer Northern California weather is hurting our Facebook Live right now, but in any event, we're getting a really good opportunity to check out the interior of the car. Why don't I get in the front seat? We can go through the iDrive just a little bit more, since I don't want to get rained on. Oh, sunshades too. We don't need those today. Integrated sunshades in the rear, kind of nice. We've got one in the back too, I believe, but I can't put it up from here. Got another cool speaker grill. I really love it's not just BMW, a lot of the premium automakers are going kind of not crazy, but they're doing cool things with the patterns on speaker grills these days. And I think this Bowers and Wilkins one is really nice looking. Okay, Hash Barky, does it have heated or cooled rear seats? Great question. In fact, this is something that we were talking about yesterday. I don't know about the rear seats. To be honest with you, I don't think that there are. I don't know that that's the full spec list in front of me, but I don't see any controls for it. So I'm gonna go ahead and say no to the heated rear seats. Not, but this again, this car isn't like fully optioned. And there are going to be 3 more trims too, 3 more engines. So there's a 530E that's the sort of plug-in hybrid version of the car. There's a 540 that I also drove a little bit yesterday, and then there's going to be that massive 550 XI or the all-wheel drive version of the car. So it might be that with a higher spec level or a different package, you can get heated seats in the rear. I'll have to check on that, and I can respond. The cooled is an interesting question because we did find yesterday that, and again, this is a car that still is fairly heavily spec'd out, $74,000, right? You can see that we've got heated seats. I can push the button. Heated seats for the front, but only heated. They're not cooled. So that feels like a miss for people who live in warm climates for sure. And even people who live in places like me where it's temperate, it gets hot and cold. It's nice to have both for sure. And it's not on this car. So I will double check with BMW the availability of cooled seats, both in the front and heated or cooled seats in the rear. The BMW E-Class, great question. I mean, that is sort of the $1 million question. The E-Class, we had a couple of long conversations about this. The other one that people wanted to throw into that mix because it's brand new and getting a lot of praise is the Volvo S90, right? They're kind of different things. I think that the E-Class is probably one of Mercedes' most successful new models in terms of what they set out to do and how they've executed it. I really, really need to drive the cars back to back before I can give you a personal opinion on how I feel about them sort of as like driver's vehicles. I will say that on first blush, when you get into the Mercedes, when you get into an E-Class, especially because they have that sweep from the instrument binnacle all the way across to the infotainment system that's completely digital, the E-Class to me feels more impressive. It feels like more of a showstopper from the inside, and maybe, you know, styling is so personal, but I would also argue from the outside, I think the styling is just a little bit more emotional on the E-Class. But again, like, people can look at both cars and have completely different opinions. What I will say is that this BMW is like a giant step up from where the previous 5 Series was. So whereas, you know, obviously before this, it wouldn't have even been a question. E-Class was going to be like the default answer to that question. Now it's definitely a question that merits driving both cars. You've really got to get in deep experiencing both cars, I think, before you are going to be able to decide which one is right for you. And even when I have a chance to do that, like a closer back-to-back drive of both of them with sort of appropriately similar engines and trim levels, I think it's a lot of it is going to come down to really personal opinion and not sort of factual judgment of the vehicles. They're going to be really close in terms of price and the powertrain lineups. BMW and Mercedes have been in lockstep and that kind of thing for quite a while, and it's not going to change with this car. So I will say, like, sorry, that's not a great answer. That's a long-winded answer, but I'll just say that I'm really excited to find out the answer to that question. Does that make sense? Hopefully that works for you. But all right, the rain has slacked a little bit too, so I'm going to give you one more walk around before I call it quits. Watch it start pouring down on me. Again, such beautiful country too. I know you guys are here for the car. It is cloudy, but so here we go. I'm gonna try not to get run over. But this is your new 5 Series, guys. We got the vent that BMW calls the air breather here too. Yeah, Hash, I think a lot of people I definitely think that there are going to be Mercedes fans or even people who are looking at it objectively who would go Mercedes over BMW. But it's still a slick car. It's a really nice driving, good to look at, comfortable, sporty car. All right, look, guys, I'm getting cold right now in terms of the rain, so I am going to sign off. I want to thank you all for watching. And again, we'll check on the heated seats question. And if you guys watch this after I'm live and you have more questions, please feel free to write them in comments and we'll get around to answering them just as soon as possible. And look for the review on motor1.com very soon. Thanks so much.